In the heart of ancient Greece, beneath skies the color of aged wine, nestled the verdant kingdom of Macedon. Here, amidst sprawling olive groves whispering secrets to the wind, a legend stirred within the royal stables of King Philip. A foal, unlike any other, emerged, his coat the color of a moonless night, shimmering with an otherworldly luminescence. Whispers danced on the breeze, some claimed a touch of the east in his fiery spirit. Others spoke of the famed Thracian blood that coursed through his veins, and a few, with hushed reverence, dared to murmur of Arabian ancestry. This magnificent creature, christened Bucephalus, bore a name that resonated with an unsettling power-ox head. Was it a reference to the breadth of his brow, a testament to exceptional intelligence, or a mark upon his coat, a secret brand whispering of a destiny yet to unfold? Bucephalus grew into a stallion of unparalleled beauty and ferocity. His spirit, a raging inferno, mirrored the untamed wilderness that surrounded him. He was a storm on four hooves, a creature woven from moonlight and shadow, a living tempest that seemed to carry the very essence of the wild within his powerful frame. Legends swirled around him like the dust devils that danced across the plains. Some spoke of his uncanny resemblance to Pegasus, the mythical winged horse, a comparison that sent shivers down spines and ignited imaginations. An oracle's prophecy, whispered on the wind like the pronouncements of a jealous god, fueled the flames of intrigue. Whoever could tame Bucephalus, it declared, would become king of the world. The challenge echoed through the halls of power, a siren song that lured the ambitious and the foolhardy. King Philip, a man of iron will and boundless ambition, saw in Bucephalus not just a beast of burden, but a potential key to an unparalleled destiny. But Bucephalus remained untamed. The finest horsemen in the land, their egos inflated by years of experience and victories on the battlefield, approached the stallion with a bravado that bordered on arrogance, only to be tossed aside like rag dolls caught in a hurricane. Frustration gnawed at King Philip. This magnificent creature, promised to greatness, remained an enigma, a raging storm defying control. One day, under a sky the color of bruised grapes, a young Alexander, barely a man himself, stood mesmerized by the spectacle of Bucephalus's untamed fury. Unlike the seasoned riders who approached with a swaggering confidence, Alexander saw not defiance, but fear. The stallion, magnificent as he was, danced away from his own shadow, a primal terror flickering in his obsidian eyes. A spark ignited within Alexander. With a quiet determination that belied his years, he entered the enclosure. The seasoned riders scoffed a mere boy attempting what grown men had failed to achieve. But Alexander, fueled by an uncanny intuition that seemed to defy logic, approached Bucephalus not with force, but with understanding. He spoke in a voice as soft as the sigh of the wind through the olive groves, his words a balm against the storm raging within the stallion. Slowly, ever so slowly, he turned Bucephalus away from the lengthening shadows, towards the warmth of the sun that cast long, golden fingers across the training ground. The tension in the air was thick enough to choke on. Would Bucephalus react with the same violence he had shown to all others? Or would Alexander's unorthodox approach yield a different outcome? A collective breath was held as Alexander reached out a hand, tentative yet firm. Time seemed to stand still. Bucephalus, his wild eyes meeting Alexander's with a flicker of something akin to trust, lowered his head. In that heartbeat, the world held its breath. Would the stallion erupt in a frenzy, or would he accept the boy's offering? A lone fly buzzed in the heavy silence, the only sound that dared to pierce the tension. Then, with a grace that defied his earlier terror, Bucephalus allowed Alexander to mount. The crowd erupted in a cacophony of cheers and gasps, the sound a wave crashing against the stoic walls of the palace. King Philip, his face a mask of awe and disbelief, watched as his son rode Bucephalus with an ease that bordered on the mystical. In that moment, under the watchful gaze of the gods, it was clear the prophecy had found its fulfillment. Alexander, the boy who tamed the untamable, was destined for greatness. And Bucephalus, the magnificent stallion with a heart as wild as his spirit, would become his loyal companion, forever bound by a connection forged in the crucible of courage and understanding. Their journey together would become the stuff of legends. They would conquer vast swathes of land, their names whispered with reverence across the known world. But that day, in the heart of Macedon, under the watchful eye of the sun, a legend was born not just of a king, but of a bond that transcended the boundaries. From that momentous day forward, Bucephalus became Alexander's shadow, his confidante, his most trusted advisor. They trained together relentlessly, forging an understanding that transcended words. Alexander learned the stallion's every whicker, every twitch of an ear, and Bucephalus, in turn, seemed to anticipate Alexander's every thought. They were a fearsome duo, a man and his horse, a living embodiment of untamed power harnessed by unwavering will. When the call to war finally came, a tremor that shook the very foundations of Greece, Alexander and Bucephalus were at the forefront. The stallion, a living storm clad in midnight fur, charged into battle with a fury that mirrored his rider's ambition. He was a whirlwind of hooves and teeth, scattering enemy ranks and leaving a trail of terror in his wake. Arrows rained down, some finding their mark on Bucephalus's powerful flanks, but the stallion, fueled by a loyalty as fierce as his spirit, ignored them, his focus solely on protecting his rider. Victories mounted, each one etched in the annals of history with the blood of their enemies. Thebes fell, its once proud walls crumbling before Alexander's relentless assault. The Persian Empire, a colossus that had bestrode the known world for centuries, trembled under the onslaught of the Macedonian army. Yet, with each victory, a shadow seemed to lengthen over Bucephalus. The once unyielding stallion bore the scars of countless battles, his coat dulling, his movements a shade less explosive. One scorching summer day, as Alexander's army marched towards the Indus River, a tremor shook the earth. The sky, usually a canvas of cerulean blue, turned an ominous shade of ochre. It was the eve of the Battle of Hydaspes, a clash that would define Alexander's legacy. The enemy, led by the formidable King Porus, awaited on the other side of the churning river, their war elephants a formidable sight against the backdrop of the setting sun. As dawn painted the horizon with streaks of rose and gold, the battle commenced. The earth trembled under the thundering hooves of horses and the trumpeting of the elephants. Arrows flew like deadly locusts, screams pierced the air, and the metallic clang of clashing swords formed a nightmarish symphony. In the thick of the fray, Alexander and Bucephalus fought with the desperation of cornered wolves. The stallion, though older, moved with a ferocity that belied his age, a testament to the unyielding spirit that burned within him. Suddenly, a deafening roar tore through the battlefield. A massive Indian elephant, its tusks adorned with gleaming metal, charged towards Alexander. Bucephalus, sensing the imminent danger, reared, his whinny a primal cry of warning. But the maneuver was too late. A tusk, aimed with deadly accuracy, ripped into Bucephalus's side, a crimson stain blooming on his once unblemished coat. A gasp escaped Alexander's lips. For the first time in their years together, Bucephalus faltered. He stumbled, his magnificent form shuddering. Yet, with a final surge of loyalty, he carried his rider to safety before collapsing onto the blood-soaked earth. A hush fell over the battlefield, a shared moment of shocked silence amidst the carnage. Alexander, his face etched with grief, dismounted and rushed to his fallen companion. Tears, a sight rarely seen on the face of the mighty conqueror, streamed down his cheeks. Bucephalus, his laboured breaths rasping against the din of battle, nudged Alexander's hand with his head, a silent farewell. In that moment, under the unforgiving gaze of the sun, a legend ended. Bucephalus, the untamable stallion, the kingmaker, breathed his last. His death echoed across the battlefield, a mournful counterpoint to the clash of steel. With a heavy heart, Alexander ordered a ceasefire. The Battle of Hydaspes, though ultimately won by Alexander, was forever stained by the loss of his most loyal companion. To honor Bucephalus, Alexander founded a city on the banks of the Hydaspes, a monument to their extraordinary bond. The city, named Bucephala, stood as a testament to the legendary stallion, a reminder that even the mightiest of warriors can be brought low by the loss of a friend. As for Alexander, he continued his conquests, but a part of him remained forever buried with Bucephalus, a constant reminder of the magnificent creature who had helped him conquer the world.